So today, we have a nice topic, hot topic, immunity boosting flow. And let's just see the timeline. What do we have here? So first of all, it's introduction to the flow, as usually. Then the immune system versus fear. Yes, so how does fear affect our immunity as well? And then, of course, how do we fight back? How do we boost our immunity through the flow, with some actions, of course, which can be physical, emotional, mental, cognitive, and so on, environmental, social. So we'll have a little bit of an overview, but also very practical then. We will go to the flow triggers in practical manner. So we'll do some walking with focused breathing, and some stretching as well. 10 minutes of exercise. So our intention is to fall into the flow. So to really feel it. Yes, to get the experience of flow. If we are speaking about flow, why not also have the experience of being in flow? And at the end, of course, a short walk through the app that we use, or you can use as well, and some Q&As, questions and answers about being a flow coach, how to use the app, what we can do, how to target specific market groups, and so on. For those of you, of course, who are interested. So first of all, what we need to do actually is to reach the state of flow, to get in the zone. It is good before we try that you have the intention to flow. So first of all, like we are starting now this webinar, what is your intention? So can you articulate it a little bit in the chat window? What's your intention for this hour that you will dedicate to the flow code, to listen, to learn about flow, and how can you reach the state of flow by doing this? So what the intention would be to lead you there as soon as possible. Oh, sorry. You can just write it. Do you have any thoughts? Our intention. What would be your kind of a mindset, your affirmation to get into this flow state? Because now you have 1 hour with me. How do you approach it? With what kind of values, with what kind of positive expectations, and so on. So this, for me, for example, it is that while I will be speaking to you, I will observe myself. How am I sitting so that I have an upright posture and that I'm breathing as much as possible, though that I'm speaking, of course, with my diaphragm, because that is a flow enhancing breathing. Yeah, so that's my intention, for example. And of course, usually we regard this flow state as the optimal functioning state and also the desirable state. Okay, perfect. So Diana, be courageous and open-minded. Great. So here you have me that I will be speaking something. So Diana said I will be open-minded. So maybe you haven't heard of some things that we will speak about, or maybe you have other data. So you see, no, Milan, I'm doing this from this side. I see this from this perspective, but okay, I'll take that as well. Let me try. Let's be open-minded, yes? And be courageous, of course. We are safe here, but be courageous when we will be doing practical things. Maybe it is there, I'll go into it. Although I don't know what to expect and what I will get, but I'll have the courage to go into it. And Gina, to have a better understanding of how being in the flow can positively enhance our immune system. Yes, okay, that's a kind of a fast forward to our intention that we will focus our attention to. Great. So Gina, it might be kind of a growth mindset. I want to learn something new. So this is an hour, but maybe I will learn only 2 things from Milan. Because first of all, I'm an expert, I know a lot, meaning you. So Milan will probably speak about some things I already know, so what? But there might be 2 or 3 things that I will learn. Maybe Milan has no idea about flow and immune system, but let me check how he transfers that knowledge or not knowledge. Let me check if he did some mistakes. I won't repeat that. So I'll take another route to do this presentation with my clients and so on. So you put on growth mindset. That's also kind of a intention to flow, because growth mindset is positive, it is open and so on. So, and you expect something positive. And as soon as you set to yourself some small goals, 2 or 3 things, messages to take home, that's all I expect from you now, Milan. It's already a little bit of dopamine being boosted in your blood. Yes, so it's already a little bit of tension. Okay, let's see, expectancy and so on. A bit of a challenge I have with us. Great, so let's move on. So what is now this flow state? It is also the state where there is no fear. And so Diana said, be courageous and so on, open-minded. So maybe this shark here is okay. He ate already the dinner, so I'm fine with it. Let me just see and feel how is it diving with sharks, for example, like here. So when you are in deep now, there is contained inner critic, so you don't criticize too much what you're doing. You're observing it, you might be correcting it, but you don't have this inner critic on. No, you're not good, you're not worth it, and so on. No, I'm okay. And there's no fear. Yeah? So you are immersed into the activity itself. Further on, there's again, for example, creator mindset. So you see, I have here slides that are already done before the webinar. But as I go, I will co-create the presentation by my thoughts around it and so on. So imagine what you think you become. Because actually in these terms, the mind and the thinking process, the thoughts itself, they work as an attractor. The way I think, and especially what I think, actually it's about magnetism, attracts the light. Yes, because the what I think attracts the light. It becomes lighter and lighter. More you shed light on it. Yeah, it's more visible, and that's what you are becoming. Yeah, so thinking, the next step is doing, and what I'm doing, I'm becoming. So the more thought patterns around some things, the more work, the more energy invested into that, slowly I am becoming what I'm thinking. And especially nowadays, when we will go to this immunity boosting, it's important what we think about all this idea about viruses and stuff, immunity and so on. So being at one. So flow personality, for example, some of you would say, okay, when I'm listening to this webinar now, to Milan speaking, let me see if I can be carried away by it. Is Milan a good storyteller? So he will carry me on to this journey of the flow and immunity boosting and so on. And if he is successful, then this 1 hour will be like 5 minutes, because I was at one. I became a listener and observer and consumer and whatever it is of this webinar and so on. So the flow code itself, it's kind of a roadmap to the flow state. And our goal is actually I'll put this one now on. You can see it is about becoming a flow personality. Can you see this one? It's the map now. So our goal is to support people on their path to become flow personality. There are certain traits of the flow personality. characteristics of optimal perception and performance as well. And this is our goal. And here's the map that we have as a foundation, how we will reach that by various triggers, individual, physical, mental, social, and so on. And that's how we will move from the fear mode to flow mode and becoming more successful in performance, in reaching our goals, in communication, and so on. So you see, this is the map we are walking through. So it's quite a clarifying overview, if you ask me, which I always often return to here with my clients as well, so they can understand what are we doing. So you know, it becomes meaningful to them. It makes sense doing this in this manner. Next things that we need to clarify, or just give it a thought or two. You see, brain is spending a lot of energy. Yes, it's actually rather small organ, but it's spending a lot of energy to this extent, to the relatively to what the size of it. So what has to be done is that we need to shut down certain regions of the brain. So look, the prefrontal cortex, which is the youngest actually in these evolutionary terms, is very useful for human beings. Why? Because then with this prefrontal cortex, we can actually think about the future and about the past and so on. We can worry about things and so on. But sometimes this is really not necessary. In fact, it's contrary to the goal that we want to reach sometimes. So it's an obstacle. If we worry too much, if you think of other things and so on. Yes, I need to read that book again and this one and that one and so on. No, you need to do some things. Yeah, but if I'm not informed well, I need to do this. And then we are, you know, constantly sending energy in our brain region, which is not actually supporting us to do things, to realize some things. So that's why transient hypofrontality needs to happen. That means we shut down a little bit of the prefrontal cortex so energy can be invested into other regions. And that's why when we are in this flow, we don't worry. Monkey mind is off. Yes, this chatterbox is off. And the concerns about the future. If I'm playing a match, for example, oh, will I lose or win? Or, you know, I need to reach so many points. And, you know, if you're a father or mother and there's your child playing and he's thinking, oh my God, they invested so much time in my career. They bought so much, they spent so much money on my equipment and I'm losing and so on. That's the prefrontal cortex. Shut it down. If you want to be good, focus on your breathing, on your movement, and focus your mindset, eyes on the ball and so on. That's it. 1 point at a time. Yes. And then you go playing tennis, winning the tennis match, not worrying what if and so on. That's the transient hypofrontality. So today our main topic is about boosting our immune system with flow, actually, with the state of flow. So the most important thing is actually how to enter this stage of flow, because when we are there, our performance, our organs are communicating on an optimal level. We are flushed by happy hormones and so on. We are in the certain range of the brain waves and so on. Yes, so we had this last time between theta and alpha. So high theta, low alpha. That's the bridge for the flow state. And it positively influences our endocrine system, yes, hormones and so on, like we said, like we saw it also last time. So from dopamine, we move to other hormones and then to anandamide and so on, which is kind of a hormone of bliss, and serotonin later on and so on, and oxytocin. So those are all hormones that are giving us kind of a positive feelings. They are calming us down and so on. So we got hooked on those endocannabinoids and neurotransmitters and so on. So here it is very important that we know how to cope with stress as well. So if there are changes in our external environment, our brain reflects what's going on and so on, and then if we are in danger, we need to fight back. How do we fight back? We oppose the external environment, or we try to change it. And when you are in the fight or flight mode, that is the way how we do it, yes? If we are fighting back, or if we are running away, then guess what? The blood rushes in our big muscles. Yes, the adrenaline is excreted and so on, because adrenaline opens up veins in our big muscles and close down the blood circulating in our guts and so on. Yes, we need to be strong. Cortisol is kind of relieving inflammations in our body. So we have adrenaline and cortisol in the stress response, which are enabling us to, that energy is faster transmitted around the body, and so we can fight or run away on the outside. But what happens in the inside? You are vulnerable. So when we are focusing outside and trying to, correct this stressful, dangerous environment, on the inside, we are very much vulnerable, because all our energy is invested and focused to outside environment. So that's why we are stressed, when we are in fear mode and so on, we need to focus and see, what can I do? And also take care of ourselves. And here we are coming now to these core ideas. How do we boost our immunity? And we will focus also on breathing. So, for example, always when we are feeling the fear, we are actually evaluating what's going on in our environment. This can be outside environment, yes, social and so on, natural environment, or it can be also our mindset. This is inner environment. Yes, we are creating our own environment. Yes, sometimes just by interpreting things in a manner that is stressful to us. So every emotion has a kind of a breathing pattern. I'm doing a lot of the breath work for the last 20 years. So for example, now, fool around, be playful, and follow me. How do you breathe when you are angry? Start breathing. I don't see you, so fool around, play with yourself. How do you breathe when you are angry? What's your posture like? You breathe through your mouth. Yeah, you inhale a lot because you need a lot of energy, and you exhale aggressively. And you're pumping up the energy. Yes, you are generating the heat, and it's fast breathing, quite voluminous, so quite deep and fast. And you see this hissing when you breathe in through the mouth can also be because if I'm a teacher, for example, and you have a boy in your classroom that is really naughty, and it's going on your nerves, and the fire is within you, and you're just about to burst, but then you go, no, I'm not allowed. This is not good. So you breathe in through the tongue, and it's like a soothing feeling. You cool down the fire within you. So you see, that's one of the breathing exercises, how to cool down the fire within you. But anger, you see itself, it's about building the fire. Yeah, and this kind of breathing is, if you're not doing anything physically, it's called hyperventilation. So if I'm sitting and I'm angry at you, and I'm shouting at my child or at my wife or whatever we do with my boss, and I'm shouting and breathing a lot, and I'm not doing nothing. I'm exhaling carbon dioxide, which means as a result, my tissue will receive less oxygen. So if I'm not breathing properly, because my brain just, oh, you're sitting, your body is doing nothing, but you're full of fast breathing, angry breathing, you should do something. If you're angry, go out there and fight, but you're sitting and you say, no, I'm a good boy, I'm a nice lady. That's damaging yourself. So you're not going out there to correct the environment, to suit you, your needs. You're just swallowing it down and suppressing your fire. No, I'm okay. It's okay. I'm a tolerant person. You see, I don't fight, but the inside of you is fire. So if you don't get it out, it will burn you from inside. So in the long run, you yourself will have problems by not expressing what came in. Because you see, the inhale, the environment, the information goes in, I evaluate, then emotions are actually energy meant to be put in motion. And if I don't move, then this energy is what? Stuck somewhere. Yeah? And thank you, Diana. So I need to, it might be okay because it's not appropriate at the time to burst. Yes, you might have a child there or whatever, vulnerable person or so on, and you just postpone it, and later on you said, oh, I was so angry, now I need to move. And you release that button and the energy flows out. That's healthy. But if you don't do it, like for example, when we were young, and we were sometimes angry at our parents because they were godlike, and we said, I need you for my safety. But you were not there. I was not feeling safe. I'm angry at you. But when a child expresses his basic needs to be safe, how does he do that? Acting out and so on. He doesn't articulate thoughts, I need you here, mom and pop, to watch my back. The world is big. I don't know what to do. I'm vulnerable. I'm young. Help me out. And they were not covering his back. So inside was actually this anger. But with this anger, if you would do, what would father say? Shut up. Yeah, you don't understand, and so on. Go out there, be a boy, and so on. Yeah, do it yourself. Yeah, life is about suffering, and so on. And then you store this energy somewhere, because if you would express that anger, maybe you will get hit by the father or so on. There are violent parents around the world as well. So you didn't do that to protect yourself. But this energy was stored somewhere. And guess what? When you're older, it might be good to go there and pick up that energy that was stored and then release it. Yeah, so it's the law of maintaining the energy level. It is just stored in another form. Grief, for example, another one. How do you breathe when you are in grief? Or when you feel very sad? For example, when you're very sad, you go breathe in like this, and then life is meaningless. I just lost my dearest. Let me turn on the light, sorry. This might be a bit better for you. So you see, it's again hyperventilation. I'm losing the carbon dioxide. I'm breathing in this much, but I am breathing out this much. I'm losing myself, losing energy and so on. Again, the cells will not receive as much oxygen as they should. Feeling of guilt or fear. Fear is an excellent one to see. How do you breathe when we are in fear? Again, we can do an exercise. If you're sitting or if you're standing, whatever, put one hand on your chest and the other one on your belly button. Now breathe calmly breathe through your nose in and out. A little deeper than usual, but just calmly, slowly breathe in and breathe out. And observe which hand is moving. Breathe in and out. Okay. So if you're okay, feeling okay today, the lower hand would be moving, yes? The one on the belly is moving up in front and in again by breathing. So breathing in, it moves out a little bit. Your belly goes out because your diaphragm is moving down. Yes? But now, breathe like you are afraid of something. Breathe through your mouth and do it. You see, upper chest is moving. And that, my friend, is shallow breathing. How come, Milan, shallow? I'm breathing a lot. Well, that's what you are feeling. But your alveoles, yes, your little balloons in the lungs, yeah, what do you think, where they can expand the most? In your lower lungs. Yeah, let me check. Where's the... Okay, I cannot do this one. Never mind. So in lower lungs, yes? Here my bubbles can expand a lot. Why? Because these last two ribs are not connected to the sternum. Yes, they are free and they can move a lot. So if I'm breathing down with diaphragm, then my belly can move out. And here the room is made for the lungs to be fully with air, filled with air. And the exchange of oxygen from the bubbles to the blood is 7 times better than if I breathe here. Very simple. It's about physics, and as well because here in the chest, these alveoles, they cannot expand a lot because it's a rib cage here. Yeah, but here they can. That's one thing. But if I'm breathing by my diaphragm, it means I'm vulnerable. Yes, I'm open. I'm safe. But in fear, yes, there's a tension in my abdominals. I put armor on, I'm afraid, and I breathe only here. That's why it's actually, if you breathe here, it's shallow breathing. The volume is not such as down here. Yeah, that's it. And so slow and deep and rhythmic and diaphragmatic breathing is calming and regenerative. It's like, you know, pushing the brake on, you relax, you calm down, the parasympathetic nerve system moves on, goes forward, sympathetic goes down a little bit, it's time to rest, and so on. Yeah? Fast and shallow breathing, it's here. It happens a lot to ladies after birth or in the pregnancy. Yes, because you have a child down here and you don't press it. It would be unpleasant to him. So you bring it up here. And when you give birth, it stays here. So you are constantly on the move. Yeah. So Gina is saying, realized I've been shallow breathing the past 6 years, been in emotionally toxic partnership with business partner and now in strange friend. Lots of chest breathing. Yes. So that's one thing, to recognize the pattern. So the relations, the emotions affected my breathing. So I was doing here, breathing here. So one thing is, of course we can correct breathing, but if you don't resolve the relation, not much change will happen. So yes, sometimes we need to fight and correct the external environment, or just move away. Moving away doesn't always mean running away. Yes? So you just move to a place where you feel better. That's it. So invest energy in that, not in fighting. Already this can be very helpful. Thank you for being sincere, Gina, and honest with us, opening to us as well. Great, so let's move on. So we have this kind of a dichotomy between fear mode and flow mode. So what is our goal is to move towards flow mode, of course. but that means feeling safe in our planet Earth as well. So living in a clean environment, having this kind of there's no poverty, for example. Yes, that we have kind of a meaningful life as well, that we feel fundamental safety as beings, as creatures on this planet Earth. Yes. But when we are not feeling that, we sometimes put our armor on. That means we are putting tension on our muscles, stomach muscles. Yes. And that's how we disconnect. Why is that important? Because our diaphragm, again, look, when it is going down, it gives room to lungs so they can expand, and also the diaphragm is pressing down on my right side, the liver, the stomach here, and so on. Then inside, yes, the womb, for example, in women, and bladder, and kidneys as well, and so on. So they are all being tensed by each breath, like this. And what happens is, when the tension is growing, it's more easy to read information in that organ. So the vagus nerve, which goes down, is reading with each breath, it's reading what's going on in my guts and sending information back to my brain. And when I'm not breathing with my diaphragm, yes, then I don't get that information. I don't get that gut feeling anymore. So I'm living on my autopilot, in fear mode. I need to be down here, fully present. How do I feel? Yeah, that's what we call intuition. And actually that's the information we get from our guts. And when we get proper information, it's much easier to go into flow. It's because we have no fear. If you're put tension on your stomach, in your six packs, yes, muscles, rectus abdominis. If you put tension on it like this, you are disconnected. The diaphragm cannot move down. You don't feel it, and because you don't feel it, or you are afraid, that's why you're not breathing down there. Yes, and then it's hard to be in flow, because if you are afraid of the feelings you get, if you're afraid of the anger that you feel towards your business partner, and you don't know how to express that anger because you were never allowed to as a child. So now you have a chance, put on your growth mindset. Now, my dear friend, what you are doing is bringing anger in me. It's building fire inside of me. So what do you say? How can we resolve it? So, for example, or you put playful mindset. Oh, now I know it. So let's fool around. When you will do this, I will do this. And you play with it. So instead of being in fear mode, you put on kind of a mindset that is helpful. Or maybe could be a gratitude mindset. Yes. So when your business partner is doing some things unpleasant to you, yes, triggering your fear mode, you said, thank you. Finally, I realized. That's it. I'm done. But thank you for showing me that. I don't want this. And it's now very clear. I really don't want it. And then you get the power to stop some things. But out of gratitude, because actually he is enabling you to grow. So you see, you can change the perspective, and instantly I'm not in the fear mode, but in the flow mode. Could be. Just by changing the perspective, putting other glasses on. So this is how our interpretation of experiences can actually create our reality. And we need to realize that actually, yes, you see, the only absolute thing in our perception is consciousness, that we are conscious of our thoughts and actions and so on. All the rest is relative. So if it's relative, it depends on my perception and my perspective. Yeah, that's it. So we can play with that. We are safe to play with our own personal reality. Yeah? Because the only thing that is really we cannot mess with is about consciousness. We are conscious of being conscious of the experience that I have and so on. When we put our experiences, our perception into thoughts and thoughts into language, that's the power. Because language is program. It's like a computer program. So if you're good at programming yourself, so when this guy here, who happens to be my business partner, is doing this, it causes in me, now be careful how you will interpret. It's bringing me opportunity to grow out of the patterns that I developed as a child, for example. Great, thank you. Now I have it. Yes, and so on. So it's just about how you interpret, evaluate, and when you evaluate, you put value to it, the price on it, and if it's high price, I'll go for it. It's worth doing it. Yeah. So just one more thing here, when we are speaking about words, you probably heard of abracadabra. We played with it when we were children, yes, magician and so on, abracadabra, and then this will happen. It's actually from the ancient language, which also Jews used it, Hebrew and so on. It means, let my words become flesh in these terms. Abracadabra. What I speak, that will become real in these terms. So then how do we fight fear with flow? Let's move on. So first of all, it's great that we consciously put on the kind of a, these rose glasses, how we say, flower glasses and so on, that we see the world positive and so on. But we don't deny the ugly things. We accept it, but we just don't focus on it. That's one thing. Or if we see it and we focus on it, then let's deal with it. We can fight or run away as well and so on. So to focus on breathing itself, when we are breathing more than it's needed, for example, now I'm doing it because I'm speaking a lot and I'm sitting. That's actually hyperventilation. And what I'm doing right now, what's going on physiologically in my body, because I'm breathing a lot while speaking through my mouth, carbon dioxide goes out. And if you're not aware, then let's just repeat basic physiology and the chemistry. In the air, we have 21% of oxygen and 0.04% of carbon dioxide. And then is nitric as well, 78%. So in our lungs, we need about 15-16% of oxygen. So outside there's enough oxygen. It's enough. We have it. In the lungs, we need 6% of carbon dioxide. And if I'm breathing out a lot by speaking and so on, talking and so on, then carbon dioxide level goes down. And when it goes down, the oxygen, which there's enough of it, it gets stuck to the red blood cell, and it's in the lungs, it's in the blood, but from the blood to the cell, to the tissue, it doesn't move. Why? Because there's not enough carbon dioxide. So we need to raise carbon dioxide, and then the oxygen will go into tissue. That's called Bohr effect. It's very simple physiology. Maybe at some other occasion we can go deeper and so on, but that's good to know. That's enough, because then right now we will move to exercises. So how do we, Milan, boost our carbon dioxide to get more oxygen to our tissue? And when we have enough oxygen in our tissue, our cells will be satisfied, yes, live a great environment. And then if our cells are great, our tissues will be great, our organs will be okay, and Milan will be okay. That's how it goes. So the cell is the one who needs to deliver the oxygen. And that's what we will do next. So we just mentioned that. And there's one more thing. Nose breathing. It's a small kind of a biohacking trick or hint. Mouth is for eating and speaking, you see. And nose, you see, if I show it like this, air goes in here, and then what happens? We have turbines here. the air goes into, it starts spinning. So it's actually doing the longer path because it's spinning. And while it is spinning, it's also producing, like, you know, in a washing machine, this kind of a centrifugal, sorry my English now, centrifugal we call it, forces. So when we do that, the water goes out of the laundry, yes? So again here, when it is doing like this, these forces are throwing the viruses, the bacteria, the dust that's coming into this tissue here, yes? So it stays there. And then it is plugged either into the stomach down there, and the acid in stomach kills it, or we excrete it by puffing out, yeah? And then what's one more important thing, that's a very simple trick. For this virus, now that is going on, look here, we have sinuses. And in these sinuses, nitric oxide is produced. And nitric oxide, it goes here, it releases here in this cave, nasal cave. And it goes here into the nasal cave. And this nitric oxide is actually poisonous to viruses and bacteria and so on. So if we are breathing slowly and through the nose, this nitric oxide is of high value here. So it's doing its job. And it also works against inflammations. Yeah. So that's important. And guess what? If we are breathing through the nose slowly, there's a lot of it here, and our lungs have the clear air then. And how do we boost excretion of nitric oxide into our nasal cave? One exercise. It's, for example, Brahmari. So it's a bee breathing from yoga. What does it mean? If I'm doing the zzz, or like or even Om, chanting Om. Om. Now my skull is beginning to vibrate, and much more, 15 times more of nitric oxide is released into my nasal cave. Imagine that. So by breathing through the nose and by doing this exercise a couple of times a day, that's the immunity booster in the era of coronavirus. It's proven scientifically, 15 times more. So imagine now if you have a cat at your home, they're doing like this, yeah? Enjoying the life. Now imagine a child when he's watching something or he's eating something, yeah, and he goes, I love it. You see, it comes natural. When we are in this position, I don't have the expression in English, I don't know it exactly. We have one, it's kind of humming, yeah, but from the joy, from the pleasure, yeah. We get 15 times more of nitric oxide here. And believe me or not, those viruses will have problems to survive my nose. But if I breathe through my mouth, there's none. No soldiers here. Everything goes into my lungs. So that's very important that in this era now, we really breathe through our nose. And you know, it's also, nose has 30 functions. And nose, when we breathe through the nose, it's by fascia, and if we put a tongue on the roof behind our upper teeth, it's by fascia connected to our diaphragm. So even breathing through the nose, it instantly turns on the diaphragm. And if we have our mouth open, there are two things. Every virus, every bacteria travels inside my lungs. Yes, or here tonsils and so on get really swollen. That's why some children that are breathing through the mouth got this, then adenoids and tonsils out, which is actually not good. But anyway, we can do that later, some other time. And the other thing is, if we have mouth open, you saw it before, we tend to breathe up here. Again, immunity goes down because the tissue doesn't get so much oxygen. So for example, one of the most important for me immunity booster is nose breathing and humming. And so on, yeah? And the smile as well. And also smelling the life. Look, there was a research when they did, in front of the businessmen, they put some business challenges, business decision and so on. And when they were breathing in, they said to one group, when you are breathing in, when we are reading the input information, yes, when you are analyzing the issue, breathe always through the nose. Smell the challenge. Smell the business opportunity through the nose. And the other group, they said, no, you're breathing through the mouth only. And there was a control group, the third one. Yes, just do it. Just solve this business problem. Always the group who were breathing in through the nose had better business decisions. Then they said intuitively better. But look, if I'm breathing through the nose, then I'm also including my diaphragm. And here is my gut feeling. So that means I can thought about something, good. Then we said, sleep it over, breathe about it, yes? And then digest it. Digest it. And when we are digesting things, also not only food, but information, also relation with someone, you know, you can feel really, yes, this gives me energy. I feel okay. When I eat it, when I breathe in this information, it gives me a lot of energy. Or you say, no, it doesn't smell good, this one. No, it's not for me. You know, it smells bad. So that's why we need to use our nose. And Gina, yes, digest it, exactly. Think it over, it's in our head. It's the quantum position. I can think positive, but there's also negative side of it. If I'm actually thinking really well, it's always like this. For one positive, there's also one negative. So if I'm only in my head, how can I decide? Okay, go down, breathe through it. Are you okay breathing fully with it, this information? Yes. If not, no, I don't want to bring in this information. Watch the news tonight and observe your breathing. Is it a nice landscape and nice music, and you will be, perfect. New viruses, wow, I love it. Or you will go, wow, I'm afraid, and so on. So when you're breathing, you said, no, that's not the breathing I want. I want rhythmic, calm, and deep breathing. Let me check if there's something on the program. If not, shut down the TV. Let's move out. Yeah? And then you say, digest it. Eat it. And then when we are eating it, it comes also from pranayama. Then these forces are sending the energy around, the dissolved food around the body, providing the energy, the food for the cells. Yeah? And if that feels okay, now you got it, you see. Then you can decide. If we are just in our head, it's hard to decide. It's just, you know, maybe you're deciding upon some cultural values and so on, not upon yourself. Okay, I got a little bit of carried away, but never mind. We are speaking about the flow, so when we fall into flow, that's okay. And you got some extra information in terms of nose breathing and the diaphragm and so on. So, when we are breathing well, lower tempo, lower number of breaths per minute means level oxygenation is high. Yes, so it's contrary. Breathing slowly and deeply through the nose to the diaphragm, there's a lot of oxygen for me. If I'm breathing fast and so on, no, it's just the opposite than the common sense would sometimes explain to us. And so you see, usually we breathe about 6 to 8 when we are calm, breaths per minute. When we breathe 5.5, the coherence with heart and brain is the strongest. So take, breaks in your daily routine and calm down your breath. That's the immunity booster. Breathe through the nose, smell your life, and do this humming. Yeah. Or even now, right now, do this. Close your ear, this little thing here in front of the ear. Close it like this, so you don't hear it, and do the humming. And you will hear the voice and vibration in your skull. So let's do it. Breathe in, close it, and you can feel the vibration, and this vibration is actually now pushing the nitric oxide in your nasal cave. So it's boosting up your your ability to poison the viruses, to kill the viruses. That is what we should be taught nowadays. Not wearing the mask. What happens when we are wearing the mask? I'm not against it. I don't wear it, but there are better things. So if you don't know better things, okay, wear it. But look, when you wear the mask here, the air gets warm in it. And when we breathe in warm air, sometimes if we are, getting too warm as a body, then the blood and so on, we need to cool down. And that's when we open our mouth. Like a dog, who is running a lot, it's cooling down. But that means my frequency is here, 15, 16, and I'm in stress and I'm in anxiety. And when my body is in heat, yes, and I don't have the ability to cool down, then especially if the blood is a little bit hotter, yes, warmer, then in this, how it is, there's lymphatic knots, the histamine is produced. So that's when we are prone to allergies and stuff. So you see, if you are breathing through the mouth when sleeping and snoring as well, again, you lose oxygen and you lose hydration. Two basic things. We are 70–80% of water, and we need enough oxygen, yes, in our tissues. So those are the things we should take care of. So let's move on to the last part, to the practical part. We'll just go into the exercise immediately. So enough of my excursus and so on. First, stretching. We can be seated. 3 minutes of stretching the neck, because these muscles here are also stress muscles. And we need to slow down the breathing when we are in the office and do the stretching. And then we will do the breath work. So let me just share if this share computer is on. And now prepare. Here is the pattern how we breathe.
Long neck stretch.
You can be standing or sitting on your chair like I am. Here, prepare, and for exhaling, take the opposite shoulder, don't bring it up, bring it down. And then again, change, breathe in, and you stretch. Slowly breathing out through the throat. First, breathe. You put your hand and then you go down. Breathing out. Slowly, don't exaggerate. Change. And now, breathe out. Let the breathing lead the movement. That's the key. So breathe first. All the way. Then again, breathe in. And when you, with your opposite shoulder, you can stretch a little bit more. If you put it down, it's better stretching. But don't force it. And again, exhale. And feel your body closing down. And again, open your chest. Open your chest up and up. Breathe slowly out. Again, in. Just relax, 4 steps out. you breathe out all the way, moving slowly. You can bring elbows a little bit together and then open up your chest. And slowly exhale. And move. And slowly move up. Excellent. Now we will do it. Standing. Breathwork trigger. So this is an exercise you have on your app, FlowHub 7 app and so on. So while walking, yes, while going for a walk, you can use that to build up your carbon dioxide so more oxygen will go into your tissue. Yes, and if you're breathing through the nose, and you can again poison all the viruses that are coming inside in your nasal cave, and you forbid them to enter your lungs. But if you breathe through the mouth, yes, if you're chatting and going for a walk and talking and so on, then everything hits the lungs. So you don't do that, especially now in these times of coronaviruses and so on, flu. Yes, because it's all around the year now, obviously. And let's do the breath work while walking. So I'll put full on, stand up now. Chat, I hope it's fine. Great, so you're doing this daily. Perfect, Diana. So now let's move and breathe. Yes, you see it's 7 breaths per minute. Always breathe in through the nose and per sleep like through a straw out. 4 seconds in, 8 out. Yes, let's go. Breathe it out.
Breathe in.
In.
Breathe out.
Out. And you are walking, yeah? Out. Now check the belly. Breathe in, here. And close it out. Eyes on the horizon. Focus on the horizon. Listen to the sound cue and just walk with eyes on the horizon. Your pelvis moving like this. Let the breath lead you to the movement.
Breathe in. Breathe out. Nerve.
I'm exaggerating.
Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out.
we'll stop here. Let's move on to this one again. So how was it? It was the stretching, relating with breathing, yes? And then now this breath work. Slow, deep breathing down, yes? With diaphragm, it goes down. So we breathe in our lower parts of the lungs. That's where the alveoli can get really fully blown up. And the exchange of oxygen is much better than up here. That's why when you are walking, feel your diaphragm. Do I move down here? Or am I? Watch now. In Europe, for example, the beauty ideals, how are they? For the ladies, yes, 1916, 19. Eh? So, but look what they are doing, young girls as well. They're walking around in high heels, yes, the models, and their stomach in. So, and their chest out, yes? But that's the soldier position. Your brain gets the information, fight. So when you're walking around in the city, smiling, yes, and you're doing this, your brain gets the idea, it's about fight. Who am I fighting against? Against the ideals, the beauty ideals of my society, which are actually launched through media, which they have nothing to do with my health and breathing. Excellent. So, Deanna is writing here in the chat that she also improved her running performance incredibly, and it's true. So when you're going for jogging, for running, or walking, or hiking, or cycling as well, so all those repetitive movements, yes, for endurance and stuff, if you're not an athlete, then do it for the health, do it through the nose. I have athletes as my clients as well. In the same energy production, yes, they can do it before they need 175 beats per minute heart rate, they can lower it by 15. Now the same speed where they are runners, they get when they have 160 heart rate. Imagine that. So their heart goes slower, their breath goes slower through the nose. It's much healthier, and they have the same result. Now choose for yourself. Of course, there's training. They need to do it about 3 months, but the performance is better, and they get much more easier into flow, and that's what counts. Perfect. Diana started running with 40, heart rate stays at 135. Excellent. That's health enhancing. Yes. So who cares about the result? This is the result, actually, on nose breathing. Excellent. So let's move down to conclusions. Enjoy our portal, FlowHub. If you haven't yet checked, feel free for the free trial. Go for free trial. If you use the code Dr. Milan Hosta, a voucher, it's 10% discount. So that means €7.50 per year if you pay for the whole year per month. So it's not really much, and you get a lot. Honestly, what's in there, it's amazing. We did it with our team for 2 years on the shoulders of 10 years of the Nirvana fitness, or even more, and some other things as well. So check the portal, learn about immunity boosting, how to sleep well, how to do balance exercises. Look, in my office, I have it here. I have always a stick, so I can do chest openers like this, or I do it through the app. And what I also have in my office, it's this balance desk, yeah? So I step on and I do some calls on this one, because I want to trigger my balance, because I'm sitting for hours and I know it's not so good for me. So I challenge myself like this. So all these kind of triggers are in there, mapped like we saw, and then you can easily use it. And if you're also already kind of a coach, doing some fitness or group coaching and stuff and so on, or business coaching, life coaching, that's what I do. This app is perfect, because I can support now my clients on daily level with some of the basic things. Like we said, movement. We are designed to move. And with this app, you can easily send to your clients, do this, breathe this, exercise, and so on. And you can move from the beginner level through advanced level to master level. It's already there. If you're good at it, you can custom design it for your clients. If not, if you're a beginner, don't worry. We have your back. It's already there as a program. 30 minutes, 60 minutes, are you incorporation or other settings as well? We have it. So again, if you want to become a flow coach, again, use the voucher, take the opportunity, and contact our team in the back office. They will support you with marketing materials, with ideas how to find leads and so on, how to turn leads into the customers and so on. And of course, join our webinars. We have many more experts in it, flow coaches as well, and so on. So these webinars, free webinars, will be ongoing, and also some of the master classes and so on. Myself, I will take a break now. Hopefully we will go to the seaside with family. We still don't know, because we want to go to Croatia, if the border is open or not, or will it close it down because of this virus pandemic, if I may say so. So anyway, you can open up your mics now if you have any question, or maybe if you have a message to take home. So a feedback for me. Milan, from today, this is my message to take home, to my practice, to my clients. So was it helpful, and what was there for you today? So you see, it was great to invest this hour to sit down with Milan. Tell me why. How do you justify 1 hour with me? What was there for you? So you see, when I'm waiting for your answer, I'm breathing very slowly to build up carbon dioxide, because I was losing it a lot while speaking to you. So that's a simple exercise which I use as a coach as well. When I'm finished with session, 1 or 2 things that you will go home with, that you put in your pocket right now. What was worth being here tonight? And that also means that you are trying to sum it up for yourself, remind it again, and so on. And the imprint in your brain is much better then when you do this. Excellent, guys and ladies. Good. So if you have any more questions, send it to our office. You can also send it to my private email and so on. And Evo, Irina, thank you as well for being with us. So check for the next webinars. They are ongoing every week.